Check one. Okay, it looks like the audio is right. What is this microphone? What are you? I don't know why you were there. I don't know if that's going to change anything or not. Okay, sorry everybody. I was trying to make sure my YouTube is streaming. Hello, Diego. Hello, Doris. Hello, Sarah. Didn't I have a mustache? I never had a mustache, but I have grown my beard, and I often grow it and shave it and grow it and shave it and grow it and shave it. It only takes me, a week to look like I have a partial beard. So I shave pretty often. You're eager to see me with a beard? I'm not a big fan. I like to do it for like a little bit, but I don't like, it's too itchy. It's too uncomfortable and itchy. I have it. I've done it before, but it's not for me. I do it in the wintertime, I'll usually do it in the winter for, a few weeks or something, a month. Itchy. Why? Because it's beard hair. It's very coarse hair. Not everybody's hair is coarse, but mine is pretty coarse. All right, we have questions finally, and it's not about my beard. What's the difference between discernment and distinguish? Is there a difference between them? Yes, Miriam, there is a difference between them. And partly, this is a good one to check the etymology to see what the original meaning is and what are the parts. What do the parts mean? Dis means away. So let's take a look and see what discernment and distinguish are. I know I've looked up distinguish before, but I can't remember it. So discern, the original meaning of discern. Discern comes from French discerner, then from Latin discernere, to separate, to set apart, to divide, to distribute. So discernment is the ability to look at things and qualify them in one way as good or bad, to discern that it has quality or not quality. Does it have value or no value? That's to be discerning, is my opinion, right? It means you have good judgment of choice, okay? Distinguish means, can you tell the difference between them, right? Like maybe you have two different kinds of bananas and they're very similar looking, but they're not the same. Can you discern the difference? Can you distinguish the difference? Discern and distinguish can be used. One would be, do you have the ability to see the quality or variance, the difference of the type, right? or distinguish, which would just be to tell them apart from each other. But I do want to look at distinguish again and see the original meaning of distinguish again, because I can't remember, and I want to remember. Distinguish comes from Latin distinguere, meaning to separate between, to keep separate. So, in this case, distinguish is really just about... Oh, I remember. This is the one I remember now. This comes from bakers. Bakers in ancient Rome. When bakers would make bread, if they made a lot of bread, maybe they need to make 10 loaves of bread for this customer and 10 loaves of bread for another customer. But how do they tell the difference between them? They used to use a pin to prick the top of the bread to make some kind of a pattern in the top of the bread so that when it cooks, you can see, oh, this bread goes to this customer and this is different bread, it goes to another customer. So the original meaning of distinguish, the dis means apart or away. This, in this case, dis means apart, and stinguere means to prick. So that's what I was trying to remember. It does have an interesting etymology. It was because bakers make a lot of bread and it all looks the same. So they used to prick something in the top. They're all the same bread, but you can distinguish them now because you have, stinguere, meaning to prick, to make the holes in the top, to make it some kind of a pattern, right? Yeah, so I thought that was an interesting etymology. I remember reading that before. That makes sense, right? Bakers make a lot of bread. You have to make some kind of way to tell what bread is going to what person. You just make designs on them. Hello, Jana. Hello, Yusuf. So if you have questions, you should ask me here, and then I will answer them here. Hello, Nala. Hello, Amin. Hello, Mina. What does plunk mean? Well, it depends on where you saw it. Can you tell me where you saw the word? Like, what sentence was it used in? Can you give me the context? Where did you hear it? It's usually just the sound something makes. For example, maybe I will throw a rock into some water and it will go plunk. And that's the sound. Plunk. That's one meaning of plunk. But plunk could maybe mean somebody's like lightly tapping you or hitting you. They plunked you on the shoulder maybe. Let me see. Dropping or placing something heavy down, right? It plunked down, although plop is also the word we use. We'll plop it down on the bed or plunk it down on the bed. Maybe it's something heavy, you're carrying it. And anything that's heavy, when you put it down, if you don't put it down very carefully, it makes a sound. And it's a heavy sound. Plunk. That's the sound. She starts to plunk at the air just in front of Ross. Okay, so I'm going to guess that in this case, it could be a variation of the word pluck. Pluck and plunk are sometimes used about pretending to play the guitar. When you play the guitar, this motion is called plucking. So it could be that. I see that listed here. It says plunk could also be the sound of a stringed instrument, like a violin also. Sometimes a violin, when you play the violin, you use your fingers to plunk the strings, right, to make a different kind of a sound. So I'm going to guess that that's probably she's pretending to play guitar, maybe? Is this from Friends? Is that Ross from Friends? Yes, it is. Well, then, yeah. If it's Phoebe, I'm going to guess it's Phoebe you're talking about, maybe. Right? And Phoebe, she plays guitar and she's weird, so maybe she pretends. Ah, okay, she plunked at the air. Okay, so in this case, to clean his aura. Okay, so in this case, I think plunk is almost more like hit, like this. Like, maybe sometimes when people try to clean the aura, they burn sage, right? They'll burn some sage plant, dried sage, and then they do this around the room and make the smoke go everywhere. It could be that that's what plunk is, maybe some sort of like a motion, like a hitting in the air kind of a thing. Okay? You felt a lot like a baker because you were cooking yesterday? Baking a lot, yeah? Were you baking or cooking? They're sometimes different. When you say I cooked a lot, cooking is usually things like, soup or roasting chicken or making vegetables of some kind or whatever. That's cooking, right? Baking is usually the word we use for either bread. That's the most common word is for baking bread. But it could be for baking chicken, baking fish. And someone asked me the other day, what's the difference between the word bake and roast? And I had to think about it for a minute because it is a little bit, they are often used interchangeably, but there is actually a difference that I thought about and figured out. The word roast and bake, they both mean to put something into the oven to cook it. But you can bake something at a low temperature. You can bake something at a very low temperature that it will dry the food, but it won't really brown the food, right? That can be baking. Okay, now baking sometimes is higher temperature, but not always. Roasting must always be at a higher temperature because roasting does mean making it brown. So that's the biggest difference between roast and bake. Wa alaikum assalam. And who's next? So when I want to distinguish between two items, or even more from the quality, I will choose with discernment. I will use my discernment to distinguish them. Okay? You use your discernment, that's your ability to say, I know what's what. Distinguish is just to be able to look at things and say they're different. They're not the same thing. This one goes to this customer, this one goes to that customer. They're different somehow. Always think about the baker making bread, right? They make a lot of bread, so they have to make a little sign in the top of the bread so that they know that this bread is different. That's distinguish. It's the same kind of bread. It's the same looking bread. They just did something different to make it different. That's distinguishing, okay? If something is distinguishable, it means that you're able to look at it and tell that it's different. If I say it's indistinguishable, that means I cannot tell the difference between that one and another one. They look the same, okay? All right. How can you improve your English communication skills? What's the best way according to me? When you say English communication skills, what do you mean by that, Yusuf? Communication skills, that's a big term. Do you just mean speaking with your friends? Do you mean giving a public speech? Do you mean speaking in at work in business, right? Business English, professional English, academic English, right? What kind of communication? Written is also communication. Are you talking about written communication? That's communication, right? So you need to be a little more specific, and then I can tell you some tips, okay? Isn't Aura a light ring? Arwa, you're right. There's a ring that you can buy. Is that's what you're talking about? There's a ring called Aura, but the name of the ring comes from the word aura, which means, how do I explain this? It's kind of like your spiritual color. Like when someone walks into the room and sees you, do they feel good or do they feel weird? Do they feel creepy? Are you scary? Like, what's your aura? What kind of energy do you carry with you? That's kind of aura. All right, aura is partially a spiritual word and partially a term that describes the feeling someone gives you. How to keep a word without translating it. Boda, you have to train yourself. Every word that you know in Arabic, you need to train yourself to think in English, right? So next time you're hungry, don't think I'm hungry in Arabic. Think I'm hungry every time in English. Don't think I'm tired in Arabic. Think every time. Think I'm tired in English. Find every little thing that you can switch from Arabic to English and do it. And if you don't know how, then write it down because that's your homework. But roast beef. Good question. Alyssa, roast beef begins with a hot sear, and the way that I cook it is not necessarily the traditional way. She knows that I cook roast beef at the lowest temperature, at a very low temperature. But I start with a sear, and so there's where you get the brown from. Typically, if you wanted to roast beef, you would start with a hot oven, 450, 500, for 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes to give that brown. Then you would turn it all the way down to low. But that way of doing it is not always very successful, especially if you don't have a really big piece of meat. So the method I use is the more successful method. That's takes a lot longer, but it's a lot more successful. It's more likely that you'll get what you want. All right, next question. Seeker says baking is a dry method of cooking, while roasting means method of cooking which is cooked with some moisture for a long period of time. Not necessarily, no. That's braising. Braising is cooking for a long time with some moisture. Roasting is only cooking at a temperature at least 350 degrees, which is Fahrenheit, which is where the Maillard reaction happens. The Maillard reaction is a chemical reaction that makes your food brown. So when your food is turning brown, that's a chemical reaction that's happening, and it's called the Maillard reaction. And That only happens around 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So, braising is when you use something that has some liquid with it. Okay, so if I want to roast some potatoes or roast some vegetables or roast chicken, as long as it's around 350 or higher, then you can call that roasting. You could probably say 325 because you'll get some browning around 325, but just not much. I love to cook. Okay, next question. Can you use the word intriguing as the same as marvelous? No, they're not the same. If something is intriguing, it's something that makes you very interested and curious. You're like, wow, I want to know more about that. That's intriguing. Okay, so intriguing is like very interesting, and it makes you really curious about so many things about that. That's intriguing. Okay? Marvelous is just like wonderful. Like, wow, that's marvelous. That's wonderful. All right? To marvel at something is like, wow, I'm marveling at your ability. Okay? The Marvel universe of comic book characters. That's why it's called the Marvel universe, because they're all marvelous. They can do marvelous, wonderful things. They're superheroes. But we don't roast cakes, we bake them. That's right. That's why we use the word bake for things like cake and bread. For speaking. So Yusuf, to increase your, or to make you a better speaker, you need to speak more. That's the number one thing you need to do. You need to get more hours. That's what you need. You said speaking with confidence. That's easy. Okay? Yusuf, let me ask you a question, Yusuf. Do you know how to ride a bicycle? Yusuf, do you know how to ride a bicycle? Are you still there, Yusuf? Well, if Yusuf's not there, then this is for anybody else. If you're not confident when you speak, can you ride a bicycle? Can you ride a bicycle? I'm asking any of you, can you ride a bicycle? Listen to me. Answer my question. Okay, a couple people say no. Okay, that's not uncommon. Okay, but Hajar and Alyssa and Gaia and Soa and Victoria say yes. So, if you say yes, were you confident, or no, let me ask this first. When you ride a bicycle now, are you confident when you ride a bicycle? Are you confident? Do you feel like, oh, I can do that? Okay, now, when you first rode a bicycle, did you feel that way? When you first rode the bicycle? No. And so, something happened. What happened? Between when you started, you did not feel confident, but you feel confident now. So what happened? What did you do? You got on the bicycle. That's it. You got on the bicycle. And yes, sometimes you fall when you first start learning, right? You fall. And guess what? When you were a kid and you fell when you rode a bicycle, it hurts. It hurts. Yeah, I broke my wrist from riding my bicycle. I had to get surgery and a titanium plate in there and everything. It's not fun. But The point is, if you want to be confident doing anything, then you must have the confidence to do it. And that means you must be wobbly. When you first start, you're wobbly. You're riding the bike and it's not confident and it's wobbly. Oh, it's wobbly. Your speaking is going to be wobbly for a little while. That's okay. Everybody's like that. Everybody in the history of mankind is wobbly when they start a new language. It's normal. So why do you act like it's so crazy when it happens to you? Wobbly is a W-O-B-B-L-Y. Yeah, there it is. Okay, wobbly just means like it's shaky, wobbly. Okay? So, I'm saying that if you're a musician, when you first get on stage, you're scared. But you do it again, and you're scared again, and you do it again, and you're scared again, but not as much. Then you do it again, and you're scared, but not as much. Then you do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And eventually you're not scared. Okay? So, this is where I always quote my favorite quote about confidence. My favorite quote comes from the Persian poet Rumi, also called Maulana in Persian. And he said, "All of your anxiety comes from seeking harmony. Seek disharmony, and you will find peace." Let me say that again. He said, all of your anxiety comes from seeking harmony. Seek disharmony, and you will find peace. What does that mean? It means that if you get on stage to talk and you're scared, there's only one way to make that go away. Get on stage again. Seek disharmony. Get on stage and be uncomfortable again and again and again, and you will make your uncomfortability go away. Every time you do it, you make your uncomfortability go away, and you make yourself more comfortable and confident. So get on the bike. Don't be a perfectionist. No, because perfection is not a destination. Perfection is the road. Perfection is the method. It's not the destination. Okay? So perfection is something you always try to get, but you never can. All right? So if you can't get it, definitely don't spend time worrying about it. All right? And lots of people are afraid to speak. But why? Why are you afraid to speak? Can I ask that question? Why are you afraid to speak? Anyone? Who wants to tell me? Embarrassed. Anyone else? People will laugh at you. You're shy and scared to make mistakes. You're afraid to be judged. Okay? So, have you ever been embarrassed before? Have you ever been embarrassed before? All right. Did you survive? Did you live? Did you lose an arm or a leg? Were you grievously injured? My point is this. If you are afraid of lions, that's normal. If you're afraid of tigers, sure, that's normal. If you're afraid of bears or sharks, okay, I get that. But you're afraid of words. And nothing will happen. You'll feel a little bit for a minute, and then you'll grow up. You'll grow up. Let me ask you a question. Do any of you garden? Do any of you grow anything? Do you grow anything? Do you grow plants? Do you have a garden of any kind? Does anybody have a garden? No? Do you guys grow anything? When a plant grows, let me ask a question. Is wind good or bad for a plant? Is wind good or bad for a plant? Nala says bad. Why? Wind. Yeah, is wind good or bad for plants? It can destroy them, that's true. It can. But does that happen often? Does wind usually kill the plants? How often does that happen? Almost never. No. Wind is just wind. Wind. This is wind. Does that kill the plant? No. It does not. But what does wind do? When a plant is growing and it's coming out of the ground, it's weak. It's weak. But the wind blows the plant, and as the wind blows the plant, it gets stronger because the wind is blowing it, and so it must be stronger. That is like embarrassment. Embarrassment is the wind. It doesn't usually kill you. Almost never. It almost never kills you. But if you can survive it, it will make you stronger. And yes, it's good for seeds too. But do you understand? That's embarrassment, everybody. How old are you? That's my next question. How old are you? "22, 23, 27, 21. Okay, so you're old enough. You're old enough. You are not children anymore. And part of being an adult means you must be able to tolerate the wind. You must be able to tolerate the wind, everybody. You're an adult. Children go, oh, it's too windy, it's too cold. I don't want to go outside. It's too windy, it's too cold. Adults must tolerate the wind. It's windy. Okay, so what? I have to still go out. I still have to do my things. So embarrassment is like the wind. You still have to go out and do your things. And if you can tolerate the wind, then you'll be stronger. All right? It helps to think about things like this. Sometimes you have to stop thinking about yourself and try to imagine this is another thing. It's a plant. It's a tree. It's an animal. It's another thing outside yourself, so that you can imagine, how do I think about this problem another way? Okay? You just found it, but in Czech. Okay. Do I know last? No, I'm not familiar. Are you the oldest? Oh, I don't know. You're probably not older than me. I didn't see a number. No, you're not the oldest. I see a 39. Diego's 39, but he's still not older than I am. Do I run my own podcast? Tom, you're looking at it right now, essentially. Yeah. This is on Hello Talk, and it's also on YouTube at the same time. And I've been doing it here on Hello Talk for about 5 years. Yep, I've been on this app for a little more than 12 years. And I just recently passed 88,000 followers around the world. Every country in the world. It's kind of fun to think about that. Somebody somewhere in every little part of the world is listening to me go blah, 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 blah. No, I don't think I have the most amount of followers. There are some other people on Hello Talk who have a lot more followers than I do, I think. But they all are like, I think most of them are like really pretty girls. That piece is so famous? Oh, okay. I might know it, but I'm bad with names, so I'll check it out later. I probably have heard it. I just don't recognize it by the name. Yes, I have a YouTube channel. It's right here. And I have a website here and a blog here. I have done over 1,200 live streams on Hello Talk for more than 2,200 hours. I can't remember. I don't know what the total is now, but it's something like that. Why am I passionate to teach people so much? I've just always been that way. I started teaching when I was 18 years old. I started teaching drums when I was 18, and then I started teaching English in 2009. And I just love to teach. You know why? I'll tell you why. Because I struggled to learn for so long as a student. I didn't fit into the mold that most schools made. So I struggled a lot when I was in school. And that made me think a lot. After I got out of school, it made me think a lot about learning and how I learn and how other people learn. And as a teacher, I had a lot of experience because I've been teaching people for so long, so I've watched them learn. And I've seen every kind of person. When I was teaching, I think I was probably 21, I probably had about 75 students privately a week. All different kinds of people for years. I did that 15, 18 years, something like that. So I've always enjoyed it. So the point was is that because I struggled so much as a student and I spent so much time thinking about learning and studying and how people learn, it made me realize that there are a lot of people who also need help and also want to know these tricks and tips or things that I'm doing that might help you. Maybe they don't. Maybe they do. If they do, great. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, Libra. Like I said, I woke up super early and got a lot of things done early in the morning, and now I had a cancellation for a lesson that I was supposed to have, but it didn't happen, so I'm here now. Thank you, Oscar. Do I think grammar is important in learning English? Nor yes and no. It depends on where you are and what you're doing. If you're in school, grammar is important. If you are taking a test, grammar is important. If you are working and your work uses English, like maybe you're a lawyer or a translator or a doctor, and you need good English in that case, right? You need to speak well, then yes, grammar is important. But if you're just at the park talking to your friend, is grammar important? Not that much, no. The point is this. This is the more important point about grammar. Grammar is important, but you shouldn't worry about it too much, because if you have problems with grammar and you have worry, now you have two problems. You have worry and grammar. So don't worry, just focus on trying to work on your grammar. And grammar is something that you will never finish. So here's what I tell people about grammar. Grammar is like your kitchen table. Do you have a table in the kitchen? Do you have a table in your kitchen? All right, and do you clean it every day? That's like grammar. Grammar is the table that you need to clean a little bit every day. All right? Don't worry about it, though, because you have to clean it a little bit every day. Just keep working on it. That's it. All right? You're never finished with it. Just keep cleaning it every day a little bit. All right? All right, next question. Why do some native English speakers sound so clear, but some of them sound totally ununderstandable, not understandable? Tom, because in America there are, 360 million people. And that means that all of those people have a different level of education. All of those people have a different level of ability. All of those people have a different purpose or goal in their language. Maybe some of them are lawyers and doctors, and those people usually have pretty good English. But if you work at the corner store and maybe you're a musician and you don't really... if you play guitar and you don't talk to anybody ever, why do you need to worry about your language? So lots of people... they learn a language. This is true for every language in the world. You learn it in school, and then you the language is at this level when you leave school. It's at this level. But then you have to figure out what kind of language does your life need? And if your life needs this level of language, then it will stay there. But if your life doesn't need this level of language, then it starts to go down to where you need it. Right? So a lot of people speak a lot more casually and a lot more loosely, like they make a lot of mistakes, or they use a lot of words like shoulda, coulda, woulda, gonna, gotta, right? And they use a lot of slang, and they speak fast, okay? But there are some people who their job is partly about being a good speaker, right? So if you find somebody who is on the news, or their job is about public speaking, then probably they are a good speaker. So it's a really, really silly idea to just think I'm going to listen to some American, some guy or some girl who just has some level of language. No. Fine. Choose a native speaker, but then find somebody who has the ability that you want. Listen to them, and if they speak the way you want, then you should follow them. Understand? Don't just listen to anybody, all right? Not everybody is good. All right. All right, I have already answered the question about how can I improve my speaking, so if you want that answer, you'll have to go watch my stream later on my YouTube channel, because I get asked the same questions over and over again, so you'll have to go back and watch that one if you want that answer, okay? All right, next question. No, I don't get paid for any of this unless you give me a tip, and the tips I make are, they barely give me anything. I can't go to McDonald's with that much money. So don't even, no, I don't get paid for it. How do you keep the balance between love and career when you're young? I don't think you always do. Tong Li, when you're young, usually you make a choice between one or the other. You have to decide which one's important to you at that term in your life, right? So when I was younger, I had lots of relationships, sure. But I can definitely say that my relationships were not more important than my career at the time. I would never have changed my career path just for my relationship with someone, even if I loved them. At that time, I was career-minded. I was about being a musician. At that time, I was a drummer. Okay? So, most people, you choose one or the other, and then you shift later. You'll say, okay, I spent some time on my career, now I need to spend some time on a relationship. But trying to find balance, especially when you're young, I don't think that that's always doable. Or easy, at the very least. All right? Okay. So you're saying, like, students at school will never learn English because they are studying grammar only. No. It depends on the school. There are millions of people, billions of people learning English all around the world in different ways. Some of them are learning better and some of them are not, right? And some of them are more focused on grammar and some of them are not, right? It's definitely true that many schools focus too much on grammar because you can test grammar. It's harder to test people's speaking ability because you'd have to take time to listen to every student, and they don't have the time. Okay? Do I suggest the Friends series? Yeah, it's a good series for learning English. It's old now, but it's still valid and still good, and it's still the number one recommended series for learning English in the world. Millions of people have watched it for learning English, but some people don't like it. Some people think it's too old. That's up to you, all right? Don't worry. Be happy. That's right. I can't whistle today. All right, let's see. Hello, Andy. Hello, Libra. Hello, Dana. You have a question for me. What's your question? Be patient, please, everybody. If you want to express that I always keep my apartment tidy and clean, which one is correct? I get used to keeping my apartment tidy and clean, or I've got used to. Neither. It should be I've gotten used to keeping my apartment tidy and clean. I have gotten would be present perfect tense. I think. Hello, Islam. Hello, Supanan. Hello. I'm better looking without the cap. All right, well, thanks, Muhammad. But thank you. But sometimes I wear a cap because I'm too lazy to mess with my hair. Yeah, I guessed right. I guessed right. Present perfect tense. 哦，我说的中文非常不好，为什么你问我？Alyssa, are you able to hear in my you said the other day that my YouTube sounded weird. I did mute something. There was a microphone that said it was on that I don't know why it was on. So I turned that off. I muted it, and now it should be fine, I think. Is there a modern one which is as popular as old Friends that I can recommend? A lot of people like The Big Bang Theory or Sheldon. The what's the one? Young Sheldon, right? Young Sheldon might be actually better than The Big Bang Theory. It depends on you. Young Sheldon is going to have more family language in it. Big Bang Theory will have more friends language in it. Language between friends. Do I think the sentence English is just a tool is correct? Sure, language is just a tool. Language is a tool for communication. It's how we talk to each other, and it's how we express ourselves. Language is how we get the things from here out. What advice do I have for those who are not good at learning a language but are trying? Well, if you're new, then you should follow me here and listen, because there are some ideas that I tell people that make it, I give some tips and some ideas that you probably haven't heard before. The number one tip that I tell everybody here, and I say it a lot, is that whatever language you are learning, you have to learn how to read it, write it, listen to it, and speak it, but you also need to know how to think it. And that's the one that almost all of you didn't do. You don't think in English. You think in your native language, then you translate. That is not the way. If you are translating everything, then you are not speaking English. You're translating. So you have to learn how to train your brain to think in the language that you are speaking. They have to match. It takes time, and it can be difficult in the beginning. It's scary. But if you do it for just a few months or 6 months or a year, I promise you, you'll feel so much better about your language. You will feel like you can relax when you use language, whatever language. All right? It sounds good on YouTube. Okay, good. Thank you for checking. So I don't know why that other thing was turned on. Maybe I can get rid of that. I'm doing fine, Dana. Thank you. Ooh, too hot. Let me turn off this heater. This morning, it was minus 19 Celsius this morning when I woke up and went out. Cold. Let's see. So, you fully understand what someone says in English, but sometimes when I want to speak something, I don't know how to say it, how to overcome this. So, I believe that's Hannah. And I want to say that's in Poland, I believe. So, Hannah, again, what I just said is what's the problem for you? That's your problem, is that if you are trying to think in Polish and then translate everything to English, that is too slow. You'll never be able to speak well if you always have to filter by translating first. So you have to teach yourself everything that you ever learned in English. But in here. So when you walk down the street and you see people, say hello to them in your mind. Speak to them in your mind in English. Practice using English in your head all the time. And then, when someone speaks to you in English, you will know what to say because you've been practicing already in your mind. All right? Okay, next question. Thank you, Summer. The Friends series is good. It's just like I said, some people think the Friends series is a little bit old. Okay, it is. It's pretty old. Now, can I give you some advice about attracting a relationship and concentrating on a career? Probably not. I don't know, man. Well, if you're asking again between the two, that's up. You have to make that choice. I can't tell you what to do. You have to figure out what's important to you. Saren says how to speak, listen, read, and write. Well, you have to study just like any other language, right? So you need a plan, right? So, Saren, I tell people that there are 8 parts of language. So that means you need 8 plans. 八个计划. Okay? So you need a plan for reading, writing, listening, speaking, thinking, grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. If you have a written plan for each one of those, you will be successful. Okay? Do I have any tips for TOEFL? You have difficulty managing time. Yeah, it's always hard. Me too. Aurea, pretty name. I will say that you just said that you have difficulty managing time. So that means that is something you need to practice. So what I would suggest is go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to give you some practice questions that should have a time limit, right? To answer, right? And then I want you to either use your phone or get a little timer so that you can see it, right? So you can see the time. And then you need to practice what am I going to do differently when I take a test that's on a time limit? You have to do something differently. You can't do the same thing you would do if you had all the time in the world. So if you don't have as much time, what is your strategy? So like I make short notes, or I make an outline, right? When I want to state something before I write it, I'll quickly sketch an outline maybe or something, right? If they give you, the scratch paper or whatever, or I'll imagine it even in my head. Point 1, this. Point 2, this. Point 3, this, right? Introduction, body, and then finish hard and strong, right? And then you feel stuck facing an unfamiliar topic and vocabulary. Okay, so the other thing I'll tell you is, Aurea, if you go to my website, on my website, you can subscribe for free. And on my website, there is a link that's just for TOEFL and IELTS preparation. Okay, and here is my YouTube there, Sarah. Okay. Now, next question. Dana, you still don't know how to think in English? Come on, Dana. 明天如果你很累，你需要想什么？ I'm tired. Come on, you can do that. 很简单. What's the difference between shift and change? Zohal, sometimes nothing. Sometimes nothing. It depends on the context. Shift and change both have many different meanings. Okay? Shift can be a noun or a verb. Change can be a noun or a verb. And then there are many different ways that you can use them to mean different things. Okay, that might be one that is another good question for ChatGPT. You can say, what's the difference between shift and change? Show me all the ways to use them. Show me all the ways to use them. All right? Should I know every word? No, not every one. No, but those are... Change is a very good word to know almost all of them. Shift is a good word, but I wouldn't worry too much about that one, okay? How to make the most of your time. Know what's important. It doesn't matter how good you are with time if you're not good with priority. So first you must know, what are you good at? And what are you bad at? So then, if you know what you're good at, like if you're really good at speaking and you're really good at reading, wonderful. But guess what? If you're really good at those two things, then that means you don't need to practice those two things. You're already good at those. But you're not good at thinking, and you're not good at grammar, and you're not good at vocabulary, and you're not good at speaking or listening. So that's where you need to focus. So step 1 is you have to know what's important. If you have all the time in the world and you spend it, if you're really dedicated, you put in 4 hours every day, great. But if you still don't know what is important, then you won't study well. Okay? Many students, they make this mistake. They study the things that they're already good at because it makes you feel good. So if you speak well, then you speak all the time. But you don't read because you don't like reading. It makes you feel uncomfortable. But guess which one you need to do? Next question, Sam says, is pronunciation the same for British and American English? No. No. Very, very different. Many, many words are very, 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 very different. Most of them. Some of them very different. Okay? And which to choose, it's up to you. Whichever accent you wish to choose, choose it. That's you. I cannot make that choice for you. Some people like rock and some people like jazz. What do I think is the most important thing in learning a language? Learning how to think in that language. That's the number one thing. Okay? And then after that, you need to know that there are 8 parts of language, right? So here, guys, this is my article in my blog about how to think in English. This is the complete guide to thinking in English. Okay, and then this is my article about how to learn vocabulary. You're doing it wrong. Go read that article and you'll find out how to do it the right way. And then I have another article, this one, about the 8 parts of language. Read those 3 articles and then come back to me. Those 3 things, I would say, are pretty important. All right? Those 3 things are pretty important. You're welcome, Dana. Wan An, Hao Meng. Yaya, I don't just let people come on stage, man. First of all, Yaya, that's not the right way to ask politely to come onto a stage. That's not the right way, 1. 2, I don't put anybody on my stage unless you have a question. I'm not just here to chat, okay? I am not here to just chat. I am here to answer questions, okay? I have 88,000 followers. And they all want to chat. Okay? Yeah, I didn't say you can't come on stage. I said if you want to come on stage, 1, you should ask politely, and 2, you must have a question, because I don't have time to just chat. All right? Again, Kubra, the most important thing about improving your speaking is improving your thinking. You cannot think well in English, and that is why you can't speak well in English. But thinking doesn't need a partner. And you think all day. You're thinking now. When you go home, you're going to be thinking then too. When you go to bed, you're still thinking, you're just doing it while you sleep. So thinking happens all the time. So now you can just practice thinking in a different language, and suddenly you are practicing English all day. Okay? I was practicing thinking in English, just talking to myself. Somehow it does work. It does work. It does. I promise. It does work. Okay, so next. So Yaya says he does have a question. All right. So Yaya, did you raise your hand? There's a button on the. You have to find the button for raise your hand, right? There's a button on the screen. You can find that. And then I can bring you up. Okay? Do series and soap operas have the same meaning? No. Soap opera is a very specific kind of series. Okay? So a soap opera, those were the TV shows that when I was a boy, they were on TV in the middle of the afternoon at like 12 o'clock. Because the only people who were watching them usually were the mothers and wives who were at home, right? They were at home in the afternoon, so they'd put the soap operas on in the afternoon, in the middle of the afternoon. And that's who their audience was. Soap operas are dramas, right? So a lot of the Korean dramas, those are kind of soap operas, right? They're kind of, well, you know what? It's funny. Let me find this very quickly. Wait a minute. So why do they call them a soap opera? In the 1930s, they had these radio programs on the radio, and they were daytime radio dramas for the wives at home. Just like TV shows when I was a kid, in the 1930s, they were radio shows, okay? They were radio dramas, okay, in the afternoon. And the companies that would sponsor the show, they were soap companies. So those became soap operas. Okay, those became soap operas. All right? So a series is... The word series means any number of things in a sequence. Right? So a series of TV shows, a series of books, a series of magazines, anything is a series, okay? All right? But we often use the term series for TV shows, all right? If it has season 1, season 2, season 3, those are series, okay? All right, next question. Don't do it out loud because your family will think you lost your mind. Actually, Gray, I talk to myself all the time and I don't care. And actually, many studies show that most smart people do talk to themselves. So don't worry about it. All right? A little crazy is actually good. It's a lot of crazy that's not good. Is listening to a podcast and shadowing, are those enough to speak English? No. Or maybe. I don't know. Sufyan, is it possible that you could learn English only from a podcast and only from shadowing? Yeah. But you live in Morocco, right? So let me ask you a question, Sufyan. If I want to cross a desert, is it possible for me to cross the desert with just a bottle of water and a hat? Is it possible? Is it possible for me to cross the Moroccan desert with just a bottle of water and a hat? Anyone? Want to answer that question? It's possible. I could, maybe. But is it a good idea to only use those two things? Would it be a better idea if I were more prepared and I had more tools to help me? That's learning. So, can you learn only from just watching shadowing and that, right? Can you? Sure, you can. Just like I can cross the desert with just a bottle of water and a hat, but it's not a great idea. It's possible, but it's not a great idea. All right? Okay. Next question. Hello, Daniel. Your family doesn't speak English at all. Oh, well, that's okay then, totally. What is the shadowing method exactly? Shadowing means you should watch somebody and study everything that they do, like a shadow. What is a shadow? A shadow is something that's behind you and it does everything you do, right? If you move your hand this way, the shadow also moves its hand that way. So shadowing is when you watch somebody because they're great. So you want to learn, why are they great? Is it their vocabulary? Is it their pronunciation? Is it their energy? Is it their dynamics? What is it about them? Why are they a great speaker? That is shadowing. You're watching somebody and you're studying them to try to figure out, what are they doing that I'm not doing? Okay? Okay, at least you're in the right place. A lot of people want to speak fluently here. Just keep coming and watching and learning and listening, okay? Do I think talking to yourselves can help relieve stress? Probably, yeah. I like to talk to myself when I'm driving. What can I do to understand what others are saying? Daniel, that depends on who you're listening to. If someone speaks well, then you don't have problems. You understand me, don't you, Daniel? So that means you can understand. But you need to listen to the people who speak well. And if you don't understand, then it doesn't mean that you can't. It means that their language is a little harder to understand. So not everybody is super clear. Okay? Don't forget KISS. That's right. Keep it simple, stupid. That's right, Samuel. I'm glad you read that. Thank you for the gifts, Umi. Mimicking, that's right. And hello, Rodrigo. How are you? Shadow is if a baby learns by imitating their mother's voice. That's right. Yeah, hopefully your mother speaks well. Let's see. LG says, write down all the things you want to say, practice again and again so it'll be more. Yeah, that's another way to do it. That's another idea you can do. Sure, that works. Absolutely. I have many notebooks with Chinese things I want to say, you know? That's exactly what I did. I have a whole series of notebooks that I wrote, all the things I want to learn how to say. And then I can read them and study them and look at them and review them. Okay? How does it relieve stress to talk to yourself? Because it's venting. Venting is venting is venting is venting. To vent means to relieve stress, pressure. You vent, it can be a term in science or a term in heat. You vent heat, right? Pressure, you vent pressure. But it's also a term that we use for feelings. And when you're upset, you want to vent. You want to tell somebody how you feel. Sometimes you don't need to tell anybody. You just need to say it. You just have to get it off your chest, is what we say. To get it off my chest. I just said it. Okay? Next question. Can we be and speak as American people or like American people in how much time? Rod. Can you? Yes. Because guess what? Millions of people do it all the time. People come to the United States and they learn English. I want to give you something right now. Look, I'm going to give this to you. This is from the United States government. It's a gift for you from the U.S. government. Not from Trump, but it's from the U.S. government, okay? This predates Trump. He doesn't want you to have this, but I do. So this is a document. It's a PDF file that you can get, and it says Everyday Conversations Learning American English. And look at what they have for you. Introductions and small talk, around town, pastimes and activities. It's all right here. Look, it's so great. Dialogues that you can read and study. Okay, look at that. How great is that? Free, totally free, and it's right here. Okay, so there you go. Okay, next question. And then how long does it take to sound like an American? Learning a language is like learning a musical instrument. You are never done. No one has ever said, I'm finished with piano. I learned everything there is to learn. Nobody has ever said, I'm finished with the guitar. I don't need to learn anything more. I know it all. And no one has ever said, I'm finished with English. I know everything. I don't need to learn anything more. I'm still learning English. So if I'm still learning English, then you are too. Okay? Umi, that's okay, whatever. That I don't care what they are, but thank you nonetheless. Okay, do I have a social media in China? No, I don't. Not really. But 我知道很多中国人，我不知道为什么，可是很多中国人他们需要用那个梯子。Okay, 如果你要看我的这是网站吗？对啊 yeah. So if you want to see my website, some Chinese people need a VPN. Some don't. I don't know why. It's weird. There's nothing on my site of any consequence that I think. All right. Use different tools. That's right, Sufian. That's right. Okay. You're still here, Umi. I'm glad you're still here. You usually mix much with more. Do I have any advice for that? Yeah, that just takes practice, Arwa. That's an easy fix. Just go to ChatGPT and for 2 weeks, every day, ask ChatGPT to make a worksheet to practice much and many. Okay, or much and more. Sorry, much and more. Okay, just every day ask it to give you one worksheet for 2 weeks. All right, that should be enough. Then you'll know. It's not that hard. You can do that. Okay, easy worksheets. They're easy. You just need repetition. Repetition. Okay? Can I recommend the best soap opera to help improve your English language learning? I don't know any soap operas, really. But, again, many people like the show Young Sheldon. A lot of people seem to like that one. It's popular. Okay, please be patient, everybody. I'm trying to answer as many questions as I can, but it takes time. Elise says, I can read correctly and I understand when others speak, but when it comes to speaking, the words get lost. You need more practice. Elise, you need more practice. It's that simple. Okay? When you learn a language or learn a musical instrument, you need to think about being a pilot, okay? If you are a pilot to fly a plane, they do not let you fly a plane. I think it's 2,000 hours. I want to say like 1,500 hours or I don't know, something like that. A pilot is the guy who flies the plane, right? 中文我忘记中文怎么说，就是那个什么飞行员 pilot, right? So if you want to be a pilot, you need to do 1,000 hours of practice in the simulator or in the air practice before they let you be a pilot. So That's a lot of time. And most of you are not thinking about that. If you didn't do enough hours, you're never going to feel good or comfortable, and you're never going to fly the plane. Okay? Summer, you know what they say about wisdom? Wisdom is a funny thing because most people become wise because they were so dumb. That's why they call it wisdom. So if I am wise, it is only because I was really dumb. But you learn, right? If you're dumb, but you learn, then you become smart and wise. Okay? All right, next question. Yes, Summer, I know about the internet there. That's right. Rodrigo, I don't know if you ever remember there was a musical, The Fiddler on the Roof. It was a famous musical from the 1980s, 70s. And there's a song in that musical where they sing about the word tradition. And I always change it to repetition. repetition. Douyin, yeah, I have posted a little bit there, but I didn't do much. It's also a little tricky, Summer. Just like it's hard for you to use the internet here, it's a little tricky for us to use it there. It's not impossible, but it's not the simplest either. Hello, Jishan. How much does it cost? You mean for a VPN? I don't know. They're all different. There's many. Have I ever been to China? Well, 2016到2020我住在台湾教英文. And I've been to Hong Kong a bunch of times, but never mainland. Not yet. 还没去. How can you express metaphors? A simple way. Metaphors are easy, Anna. Anna, is there somebody in your life who's important to you, like your father, that they're stable, they're always there for you? They're always there. Do you have somebody like that, Anna? Like your dad or your mom? Yeah? Okay. Well, guess what? Whoever that is, they are your rock. A rock is something that doesn't move. It stays there. It's always there. It's stable. That's a metaphor. Metaphor is when you take something that's a thing, right? An idea or a thing, and then you say, he is or it is that. It is that. You just make a direct comparison between those two things. Okay? He is my rock. That's a metaphor. All right? So all you need to do is just think of something that's like that. There's two things, right? There's metaphors and there's also similes in English. Similes and metaphors are almost the same. But a simile uses the word like or as, right? So he's like a blah, 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 right? He runs like a horse. That's a simile. If I say he is a horse, that's a metaphor. All right? Understand? Some people experience pain and suffer so they become wise. Well, right. That's true. That's another way to become wise. But it's just a funny thing that they say about the word wisdom. It's not related to the word dumb. Dumb is spelled D-U-M-B, and this is D-O-M, but it's a funny play on words. It's called a pun. All right? What do I think about geopolitics these days? That's what I think. Or maybe the appropriate response might be, geopolitics are pretty bad these days. What do I think about people who are starting to learn a language at the same time? Can you do it? Sure. Is it a good idea? Not necessarily. You can do it. Of course, you can learn 2 languages at the same time. You can learn 10 languages at the same time. But you know that will be harder. So it's that simple. Learning 1 language is hard. Learning 2 languages is harder. What problems do I have? I got lots of problems, man. I'm a problem factory. You're curious about my experience learning Chinese. Is it difficult? Yeah, it's super difficult, but that's why I liked it, because I like difficult things. I like to do hard things. When you do something difficult, you go, oh, wow, look, I can do that. If I can do that, then I can do some other things. It makes you feel capable. You know? So, is it difficult? Sure. I've been learning it for more than... Oh, it's probably been almost 15 years now. It's definitely been more than 10, right? Now, I don't study it anymore, really. I haven't studied it for more than 5 years. I practice it, I work on it, but I don't really study it anymore the way I used to, right? Now, I build upon it by using it, right? So I have private lessons with some Chinese students, and I often use Chinese when I'm talking with them. And sometimes I find a word, oh, I didn't know that word. Let me find it very quickly. I'll tell you what it is, right? Then I learn at the same time. But it's definitely difficult for sure. But you can do it. Billions of people have. He's a donkey is a metaphor. That's right. Yeah, it could be. It also could be an insult, Rodrigo. Hello, Carolina. How many languages can I speak? I can speak English, and I can speak Chinese really poorly. I speak really bad Chinese really well. All right? That's what I tell people. And I know a little bit about a lot of other languages. All right? Because I'm a language teacher, because I teach English, and because I've studied culture, I know a little bit about many languages, like probably about 12 or 13 of them. Okay? But when I say that, please remember, I just said a little bit. So that means I know like 10 or 15 words in French and Italian and German and Arabic and Chinese, or no, Chinese I can speak, Japanese and Russian and Latin and Portuguese and just like that. But just a few words, right? Like 5, 10, 15, 20 words. That is not hard. Anyone can do that. Many people can do that. Okay? All right. Can you learn 3 languages at the same time? Sure, you can learn 23 languages at the same time. You can. I didn't say you should, but you can. All right. Do I know Hindi? I know Namaste. There are a few languages I just know, like how to say hello, like Vietnamese, Xin Chào, and Hindi, Namaste. But I don't know much more than that. What language has the same origin as English? English comes from many languages. 60% of English comes from Latin or Greek. 30% comes from French. 20% comes from German. We also have a lot from Arabic and Persian and Hindi and Italian and Spanish, even Chinese and Japanese. So we steal words from so many languages, right? Karaoke, that's Japanese. It means empty orchestra in Japanese. So when you learn English, you will learn many words from many other languages because it's part of English. Okay? Just the other day, I remembered another French phrase that I know, which is comme ci comme ça, which is, again, you hear it in America occasionally. You might hear somebody say that. Growing up, I heard it, and it means like so-so. And yeah, you hear those things, right? C'est la vie, such is life. Okay? That's just part of growing up in a multicultural society. If you had to learn a new language from scratch in 6 months or 1 year, what would my daily routine look like? I'm kind of crazy, so I would probably be 24 hours a day studying for 1 year. But I'm nuts. Like when I want to do something, I do it all the way, and it's kind of obnoxious. So if you're asking me what would I do, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do what I would do. What I would do is too crazy. It would be too intense for you. But what you should do is just make a plan, Nora. Nora, go read this article. This article is about the 8 parts of language. If you have 1 year to learn, read that article and study the 8 parts of language and have a plan. You need a plan for each part, a written plan. If you didn't write it down, you don't have a plan. All right? All right, next question. Can I say you as an aura? Because you can say maybe you can say I'm an inspiration, or you can say I'm a good motivator, or I gave you motivation. That's part of a job of a teacher. Teachers are supposed to make you want to go do it. And some teachers, they do it by yelling at you, go do it! And some teachers, they do it by joking and encouraging you and giving you a different way of thinking about things. Okay? Do some languages have the same origin? Yeah, Arwa, French, Italian, Spanish, Romanian, Portuguese, those 5, and I think there might be one more that I'm forgetting, those 5 all come from Latin. Okay? What language do I think is beautiful? I love the Italian language. I just love how musical Italian language is. Every language has a different rhythm and a different music to it. And they're all pretty in different ways, but Italian is the most boisterous. It's the most vivacious. It's the most bold. They are not a shy people. And I love that about them. And it shows when they speak. They speak with such passion. You know? You got to do this. But Spanish is also a beautiful language. French is a beautiful language if the right person says it. French is a funny language because I think French is like... You can have two French guys say the same words. One guy will sound super romantic, and the other guy will sound super creepy. I don't know why or how that happens, but French sometimes sounds super, super beautiful. And then sometimes it sounds like somebody is really just having a bad day. Déjà vu, that's right, déjà vu. That's a French term, right. What Arabic do I know? All right. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Shukran, afwan, na'am, lach, insha'Allah, alhamdulillah, and oh, I'm forgetting one. Merhaba, and what's the other one? There was one more, but I cannot remember what it is now. Off the top of my head. This explains similarities. Can the sunset be described as intense? Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. C'est la vie has a phonetic joke in Spanish. Oh, that's interesting. ChatGPT also has a phonetic joke in French. It means cat fart in French. I try to say in metaphor way, does it work? Oh, let me see. What did you say, Anna? Did you say what? I don't know. Maybe I missed it. Oh, you are an aura. Oh, does that work? It works, Anna, and I'll tell you why it works. Because that's what language is. Language is making a new song, and you just made a new song. Has anyone ever said you are an aura before? Maybe not. It might be the first time. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. That's language. Language is whatever you want it to be. So if you want to say you are an aura, if you feel that expresses it well, fine. You own it. It's your language. Okay? Okay. Oh, man, I'm getting tired, guys. Yes, I use ChatGPT to help me every day. Here's what you need to remember. When I was a boy, if I needed to write a report for school about the country of Iraq, or the country of Venezuela, or the country of Cuba, whatever, if I had to write a paper about that, then I would go upstairs to my brother's bedroom, where he had a set of encyclopedias that my mother had bought for us. okay? And we had these encyclopedias. And I would have to say, okay, I want to learn about Korea. Okay, I'm going to get the K, and I'll open up K, and I'm going to read the little bit about Korea. They have 1 or 2 pages about Korea. That's it. And I wrote a report about that, and everybody said, oh, that's wonderful. Now, was everything in that report 100% correct? Probably not, because that book is old. Maybe not up to date. Maybe things changed. Maybe somebody in Korea would say, no, this is not right. What they said here, that's not true. This is really, it's this, right? But nobody argued about encyclopedias. They all said an encyclopedia is a wonderful piece of information for learning. It's a tool for learning. And now we have ChatGPT, which can answer almost any question that you can ask, and it might not be 100% correct, but neither was my encyclopedia. And is there any human on this planet who's 100% correct all the time? No. But you still ask them. You still ask them. If you have a teacher that you respect, he is not infallible. He might make mistakes, but you still ask him his opinion. Do I trust AI totally? No. Arwa, my favorite thing to do is to argue with ChatGPT. I argue with it. Every time it gives me an answer, I argue. I say, are you sure? Prove it. Show me. Explain it again. Okay? So that's the point, guys, is if you are trying to learn and you are not using ChatGPT, then you have a very big disadvantage. Huge disadvantage. But if you want to learn and you are serious about learning, then you can use that tool and be very serious about it, and you can learn incredible things. Okay? Okay, next question. Do I know the word dacha? I think I do know that word. I have heard that word. I'm trying to remember what it means exactly. Oh, I have heard that word before. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like a seasonal home, like a summer home or a winter home or whatever, like a place you go to for holiday. Is that right? Something like that. I don't think it's really used in the U.S. unless there's a Russian community, which there are, right? There are some places in America that have Russian communities, like in New Jersey's got a pretty big Russian community. I'm sure they use that word there, probably. Can I speak some Italian? Grazie mille, bene. Molto bene. Spanish is most romantic. It's pretty romantic, yeah, but Italian is right there, too. Italian and Spanish both can be very romantic languages. Yeah. Okay, next question. Falafel, sure, I can say that one, too. And hummus. Baba ganoush. The writer might not know much about Korea. That's right. Or they did know a lot, but in 1985, nobody knew that much about anything. I was a boy in 1985, okay? And that year, I can tell you, very few people knew about any place. Okay? We didn't know. Okay. What should I do if I don't understand many of the words? You mean here now, Ling? You mean what I'm saying now? Sometimes you don't understand? Okay, 没关系，一些你可以听得懂，一些不听懂，没关系，没关系。Okay, just try to understand what you can. All right? Try to understand what you can. 加油，熟能生巧。Huh? My profile picture looks like somebody. I don't know who that is, but okay. Is wisdom a bad word? No, it's a good word. He has great wisdom. No, it's a good word. I still look pretty young. Well, that's good. I'm not, but that's good that you think I am. Tell me more about yourself. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? You must be talking to me, because I'm the only one here. RJ, my name is Teacher Mark. I'm a teacher. I've been on Hello Talk for more than 12 years. I have 88,000 followers here. I've been streaming here for 5 years. I have done more than 1,200 live streams and more than 2,200 hours of teaching. I have a YouTube channel here. I have a website here. And I have a blog here. That was De Niro. You got it, Gray. Good for you. Somebody got it. Seeker, why am I saying that in 1985 nobody knew anything? Because they didn't. I was there. In 1985, most people in America, I can only speak about my country, right? So I'm just going to tell you, if you grew up in the 1980s, the world was very small back then, man. I did not get a computer until 1987 or 88. I think it was 88, maybe. Okay? So there was no internet. There was no computers. There were no cell phones. All right, man? Cable TV wasn't even a big deal yet. All right? So at that time, the knowledge that most people had about the world was very small, very limited. Okay? Almost no one really knew a lot compared to today. Today, we talk to people around the world. We know a lot more about cultures and countries and the world. We're in touch more. And we have access to current, up-to-date, minute-by-minute information. Okay? I teach English and I teach life. Thank you very much, Reem. I appreciate that. My YouTube channel's right here. Seeker, at the time, we all thought we knew a lot. Everybody always thinks they know a lot, right? So right now, we all think we know a lot. But 20 years from now, we're all going to feel like we didn't know anything now. 20 years from now, the knowledge that we will have available to us will be far greater. Okay? When I was a boy, I remember using a computer that had paper cards on it. You had to feed a paper card and it would punch holes into the card to make data. That's some really old ass shit. That's super old. And now I'm using a computer that could take me to the moon. You know? It's crazy how much has changed in such a short time. When was I born? A long time ago. 现在我就在美国。俄亥俄州，就是在美国中部。And the topic is just ask me questions about English or questions. Ask me a question. I'll give you an answer. It might be wrong, but I'll give you one. How do I still speak Chinese? Because 因为每天现在我就在美国，可是每天我可以用我的中文 now. Understand? 如果你可以想的，你可以说的，想的。Do I like to go clubbing? No, Victoria. I'm sorry. I'm not a club boy. Victoria, I'm a drummer. So between the ages of 18 and 32, 35, I spent almost every day in a bar, in a club, playing music. I'm a drummer. So I worked at the club. So when you work at the club, you don't really want to go to the club. You know what I mean? That's like going to your office to hang out. Okay? But you're trying to say that the general people had the same kind of knowledge and information back then via books and newspapers too. I won't say the same kind of knowledge, no, because the world was not nearly as connected and not nearly as defined yet. Before the internet, nothing was defined, man. Nothing was defined. Now everything is defined. But before that, not everything. Only things that were on the books were defined. Not everything was in books. Okay? What other languages do I speak? Not really anything. I know a little bit about a bunch of other languages. I know a little German, a little Spanish, a little Italian, a little French, a little Russian, whatever. I know a little Arabic, but this much. My name is on the screen. You can see my name. My name is right there on the screen. Teacher Mark. No more clubs for me. That's right. Yeah, I'm not a club guy anymore. I mean, I never really was because I always worked in them. You know, I never went to the club. I always played at the club. Why do Americans act as if they don't remember the time they spent talking to me after having a good conversation with them? Who did that to you, Anna? Me? Did I do that? I hope I didn't do that. The oldest language in the world, well, that's a little bit debatable, but Sanskrit is definitely one of the oldest in the world. One of the oldest that we have a lot of record about. There are a group of other languages called PIE languages, Proto-Indo-European languages, but almost all of those languages have almost no written form. So when we talk about languages and where do languages come from, I usually stop around when Latin became important, Latin and Greek. Because if you go back before Latin and Greek were important in these languages, it's not written. There's nothing written. So it's very unclear. Everything is too unclear before that time period. But Sanskrit is one example of a different. Sanskrit is a very old language, and it's very well written, and it's got a lot of record. Can I speak a little bit of Tagalog? I can't, but I have been to the Philippines, and I love Filipino food. I was in Manila for about 2 weeks, and Cebu for a few days. What's my original nationality? Well, I'm an American. I was born in the U.S., okay? But my mother's family is from Ireland and England, okay? And my father's family is from Slovakia. I think I did learn a few words in Tagalog a long time ago. I have a bunch of Filipino friends. One of my old roommates, his wife is Filipina, and she's an English teacher, actually. Her English is amazing. Better than mine. She's smarter. She's much smarter than I am, I think. I think I did learn a few words, but I can't remember them anymore. Not me, but some people did. Anna, do you mean online or in person? I was in downtown Manila because I was there because I had to renew my visa. And so the visa office was downtown in Manila, and I had to stay there for like 2 weeks. It was weird. I had to do an interview, and I didn't know when they were going to call me for the interview. So I had to stay at a hotel nearby and just stay in Manila for a couple weeks until they called me for the interview. So I was really just in downtown Manila most of the time. I can't remember the name of the area now, but it's right by the wherever the U.S. Embassy is. Tamil is older than Sanskrit. Well, lots of languages are older than Sanskrit, but is Tamil well written? I don't know enough about Tamil, so I don't know, Seeker, but does Tamil have the same written record that Sanskrit does? Because lots of languages are older than Sanskrit, but not all of them have any written record. Okay? Like, if you don't have a written record, then you have a language, but we can't really study it. Okay? Excuse me. Which dialect is easier to learn? Whichever one you want to learn. There is no easier. Some people think American is easier. Some people think British accent is easier. Okay? That's up to you. U.S. accent or British accent. That's up to you. Okay? Hello, Razia. So, Anna, I can't answer the question about why some people don't remember you. They might just be rude people. Who knows? There's a TV show, Anna, in America. It's called Seinfeld. It's an old comedy show. And there's one episode I remember where this girl, she's the main girl in the show, she she runs into this guy that she met a long time ago. She met this guy at a party, and she remembers him, but he doesn't remember her. And it makes her crazy. And she keeps talking to this guy and telling him, don't you remember me? Don't you remember me? Don't you remember me? And he doesn't remember, and it makes her crazy. But some people, you just have to, they just are rude, or they just don't pay attention. You just have to let it go. Okay? Okay, if you are new, guys, if you are new, I am not new. I have been here for 12 years, and now I'm going to give you my YouTube channel. And on my YouTube channel, there are hundreds of videos just like this one. And I have 88,000 followers. That means that people ask me questions like, how can I speak better? How can I listen better? How can I improve my grammar? What's the difference between present perfect tense and past tense? How can I improve my pronunciation? What's the difference between shift and this? Whatever, people ask me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions. So, is accent really important? I've already answered that today. All right? So go watch my YouTube channel and come watch, listen, and learn. And then you'll improve. Okay? If you use some of my ideas, they might help you. All right? That's the best I can do. Unless you pay me. Then I can do better. Sometimes you think I sound like a person from the UK. No, that's only because you think I sound like that because I'm pronouncing everything very clearly. I overpronounce. It's called enunciation or diction. And lots of people, they notice that English diction is usually much, much more clear than American diction. Okay, not always. Some accents are very unclear. But most British accent, the accent is a little bit more clear. There's clarity. Americans like to speak more lazily, but I don't. I speak very, very, very clearly when I'm here teaching. I try to. And so, some people hear me and they hear the pronunciation and they say, oh, well, that sounds British. No, it's not British. It's American. But it's just extra clear. So you're not used to that. And Tamil is still a major written and spoken languages. Okay, so again, I'm aware of Tamil and Telugu, but I don't know a lot about them, so I can't really tell you anything secret. I don't have any information about them, so it would be silly for me to give you an answer. Okay, what course do I teach? I teach people how to speak English. I teach people English. All right? I'm mostly a private teacher now, so that means I will teach you whatever you need to learn. If you hire me as a teacher, then I will teach you what you need. Everybody's different. And is accent really important? No. Clarity is very important, but accent is only a little important. Okay. Can I suggest some apps for learning English besides HelloTalk? Not really, Bedad. I don't really know any. I don't pay attention to very many. I can give you this though. Bedad, if you go to my website, on my website there is a link called Resources, and if you go there, you will find tons of free resources to study English, all right? Reading resources, listening resources, writing resources, grammar, vocabulary, it's all there, Okay, there's a wonderful website I'll give you also. It's also called games to learn English.com. This is a free website, games2learnenglish.com. Free website, and it's all games. And it's fun. It's fun. You can just play those games and you'll be practicing English. Okay? Oh. Okay, so Bedad, I can't really help you with apps, but I can tell you that that website and my website have a lot of things, some links that you can go to. Okay? You speculated that they acted that way because they thought their common interests were different. Maybe. Could be. Could be, Anna. But don't worry about it, Anna. Go to the next person. Sometimes when you call, right, you get a busy signal, right? Beep, 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 beep. There's nobody there. They're just busy. Okay. Hang up. Call somebody else. Try somebody else, okay? Hello, Miyu. You're struggling with past and present perfect continuous. Okay, so Miyu, watch. I'm going to explain it to you, and you'll understand. Okay, so present is right here. This is the present, okay? So if I say, I am happy, that's present. If I say, I was happy yesterday, that's past. Okay, that's past. Present, past. I was happy. It's over, okay? But if I say, I have been, or, what's another good one? Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, wait a minute. I just lost my page. There it is. I have finished. That's always a good one to think about, okay? I finished yesterday. That's yesterday. Okay, I finished last week. That's last week. Simple past. I have finished is present perfect, Miyu. Now, Miyu, my next question is, do you know what perfect means? What does perfect mean? What does perfect mean, everybody? Anybody? Remo says, complete, no mistake. That's right. Many people think it means no mistakes. Okay? Like, oh, perfect. You did perfectly. That was perfect. It means fine, right? But guess what? In grammar, the word perfect does not mean fine. It doesn't mean good. It doesn't mean great. The word perfect in grammar means finished, completed. So, present perfect are things that you are talking about now, but they are things that you just recently finished. So, have you eaten? Oh, yes, I have eaten. That's present perfect. You're talking about something that's now. You're talking now. I have eaten. Maybe an hour ago. All right? So, present perfect is talking about things that are happening now, but something you just recently finished. All right? And yesterday I informed us I wouldn't be here. I know. I had a cancellation and I woke up really early and got a lot of things done, so I decided I had some free time, and here I am. Okay? Now, next question. Please be patient. Thank you, Ken. That's nice of you to say. What if they're from another country and they don't know English? That's my job, RJ. I am an ESL teacher. That means English as a second language. So my job is to teach people from other countries who don't know anything about English, English. So I have taught preschool. Preschool, where you have babies, 2, 3, 4-year-old babies who are looking at you like this. Huh? Okay? And I have taught kindergarten, and I have taught elementary school kids, and I have taught junior high, and I have taught high school and college and adults. Okay? Here is my YouTube. Next question. Yes, you have to log into my website, Osman. Yeah, you have to subscribe, but it's free. It's free. You just have to subscribe. Okay? Okay, and tell you more about tenses. Musif, it's too big of a question, okay? There are like 16 tenses in English, and not all of them are as popular, but it would take me a week to teach you about all the tenses, okay? And I only do that if you pay me, because that's really hard. If you want me to teach you about all 16 tenses, you got to give me some money. That's too much. But, and Kawush, you're a little bit late because I'm about to leave, but Kawush, I'm here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and look, today is Saturday, but I decided to come. Here I am. Okay? So if you are studying English, then you are in the right place. 88,000 people come here to watch and learn. All right? It's a separate topic of a grammar book. What are we talking about? Vadim? What was I referring to? Oh, yeah, you mean tenses. Yeah, right. That's a big chapter. That's a really big chapter. Okay? Yes, it's Sunday there, I know. Yeah, I'm 1 day behind you. I'm 13 hours behind you, Ling. Okay, guys, I have to go. I want to go eat some lunch. It's 1 o'clock. It's exactly 12:59. So, my website is here, and my website is there. Okay. And that's my YouTube channel. Sorry, that's my YouTube channel. And this is my website. And this is my blog. Okay? Go follow those and read and check it out. Okay? I don't just chat with anybody here, guys. I don't really do that. Okay? I'm a teacher. This is my job. I try to be here and answer questions. All right? But 88,000 people come to watch me, so they must think it's worth it, right? RJ, I lived in Taiwan for 4.5 years. That's why I was in Manila, because I lived over there. Okay, I have to go. I have to go. I have to go. But I will see you guys on Monday. I definitely will not be here tomorrow. Sunday is always my day. Sunday's for me. Okay? So I definitely am never here on Sunday. But on Monday, I'll be back. Okay? Okay, so have a good morning. Have a good afternoon. Have a good evening, wherever you live in the world. And I will see you guys next time. Okay? Bye.